Welcome, welcome. It's so good to be here. August. Hurricanes coming in on the Gulf. Everybody in Houston's coming up to Dallas. It's all good. The good news is a lot of the hotels are empty because of the virus. And so a lot of the people they're putting them into hotels, which is really good. So they'll be safe. I grew up in hurricanes, and it was always just so exciting. Like, I love hurricanes. I love when they come in the Gulf. I mean, I know they do a lot of destruction, don't get me wrong, but I have such great memories of hurricanes because we were never in a really, really bad one. But anyway, for all you guys in southern Texas, just hang on in. Louisiana, if they say go, go. My dad never would leave. It used to drive us all crazy. He'd stay in the house, and that wasn't always a good thing. So tonight we're going to talk about 4218. It's called the knit sheath dress. I just love this pattern. I think I say that about every one of our patterns. But this one is just really a cut above. I love it. I love it. It's just fits really well. We do want to go through fitting first, and then I want to show you some wonderful options. I've got 5 different options that you can do. They're all fun. They're all simple, current, fresh. The good news is that COVID's kind of, I don't know, kind of going away in a way. I hate to say that one way. I don't mean to be political on that. But, and so with that, what I mean is designers are starting to ship. Designers have been able to get back in, get to work out of New York, and they're starting to ship. So the stores are starting to fill up again. The stores were so barren for a while simply because there was nobody available to work and to ship and get the goods in. So the stores are just looking beautiful. I was at Neiman's numerous times, and oh my gosh, it's just so exciting to just see everything that's new, and it's beautiful. So I wanted to keep it fall, but still at the same time I want to keep it summer. So these I think all of these can really go either way. So we're first going to do fitting. I want to cover fitting. And I want to make sure that we're asking questions regarding fitting right away, because once we finish fitting, I want to move into the styling, and hopefully all the fitting issues will kind of be finished. So we're going to put up a little fitting. I made a little fitting chart. So we're going to put this up to start with, and we're going to talk about the issues you've had. Now, I have fit this particular dress. I personally have fit this dress on many, 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 many bodies. And I'm going to tell you something, it fits really, 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 really good. So because of the princess seam, you have no length issues. You just have absolutely no length issues. So don't worry about length. Don't think that your bust should be here and it's here. No length issues, okay? As far as circumference, that's the one thing I find that women do incorrectly, is they just have a hard time picking their size. This is a knit, so it's going to give you a bunch of flexibility, but don't worry about going from one size at the top to one size at the bottom. That might be necessary. You've got a lot of seams to go from one size to the bottom, so just do that. If you need to, just do it. If you make up a muslin, which should be out of a knit, when I say muslin, I just mean it's a trial. When you make up that muslin, and it needs to be a knit, because this is a knit pattern, the knit sheath dress is the name of it. If it's just way off or it looks crazy bad, then you're probably in the wrong size. And I would not try to drape that. I would probably start over. What I have found is that women who are in the right size, it's just so minor. The issues are so minor. I have a lot of questions about cup sizing, and I don't mean that you don't know what cup size you are. What I mean is, what are the signs of cup sizing? And you're going to see gapping or draping, diagonal drapes at the side panel. And those are all cup sizing indicators that you need to go to a larger cup. And many of you will say to me, but I'm only a C cup in my bra. I made the C, but I'm still getting the gapping. Well, then go to the D. Forget what you are in your cup sizing of your bra. Just go to the D and make it up. And see if you see those areas being improved. And I think you will. So it's good. Okay. How do we fit the dress to be flattering for those of us with protruding tummies? Protruding tummies are wonderful objects. They're part of being a female. You're going to see that in all of these dresses, on some level, we're hiding them tonight, or we're making them look their best. But if you look at what I think to be women right now in our country that are beautiful dressers, a lot of times their tummies show. And it's just not a big deal. This is your most flattering look. So I wouldn't try to hide your tummy. You just want to not do it too tight. You just want to skim it. So just as it goes down, you just want to skim. All right, when we go back to this chart that we're looking at then, there's really 3 depth issues that we'll find. One is the rounded back. We know how to fix that. If you haven't seen that, if you're new, go back to January and we did a rounded back on the blouse. Do not assume if you have a rounded back in another knit that you'll need a rounded back in this. Because, and I've said this before, but you know, I'm going to say this again because I think a lot of times we miss this. When you leave the dart where it is, which I did in the princess seam, it has a tendency to fit better. And like the 195, which this is the same body as 195, I took that shoulder dart and pivoted it to the waist. So there's no upper darting in the back of that sweater set. So even if you need it in the knit bodies, you may not need it in this because of the princess seam in the back. So don't make any changes until you do a muslin. And it's easy, quick to do. Slash the back if you need it. Do a sway back. I showed up here how to do a sway back and then how to correct that seam. This does have a center back seam, so you wouldn't need to correct it. Once you did the sway back, it would come from the center back seam and go to the side seam, and you wouldn't need to draw that correction. I just did that in case we got a question that came along on how to do that. But again, you have a center back seam in this dress, and the reason you do is because I want it to fit. I want it to fit beautifully through the back, and it does. Okay? Okay, so any questions on fitting? It's simple. It's not complex. You're going to find that it fits really well right out of the gate. I've gotten so much positive feedback on this pattern that I'm going to extend it to you. On the sleeve on this one, it has an elbow dart. It's a one-piece knit sleeve with an elbow dart. And I simply did that because I had seen kind of a re-emergence of that elbow dart, and so I wanted to make sure that we included it in one pattern. All of our sleeves and our knit bodies are interchangeable, so you can always take this sleeve and take it to any other sleeve. Okay? Okay. So that's 4218, the knit sheath. All the sizes come in one envelope, so you don't have to predetermine your size, and these are finished garment measurements on the back. Easy peasy. A lot of times I'll make it as a top, obviously like what I have on. So sometimes I make it as a top just for tonight, just to kind of make it a little bit faster, to show you some options. So there's no real changes whether you're making it shorter or longer. You're just going to take length off the bottom. All right, can you remind us when to pick the W size? I think it was supposedly related to the width of your upper arm, i.e. overweight shouldn't necessarily make the large size. So you guys, I think the best thing to do is to refer you to features. On our website, there's a features tab. And on that features tab in the center column, there are FAQs, frequently asked questions. And it goes all into W size versus regular size. And I think if you read that through, it'll actually be better than just saying it again, because you'll have a place where you can go to and visually read it through. And anytime you're wondering, just go there, features, FAQs, and it's there. And there's probably some other FAQs that might help you. So that would be a good resource for you. Okay? How do we put on the fold? The center front of that pattern is already on the fold. The center back's got a seam on that. And if you want to put that on a fold, then you just put the widest parts on the fold, and you're going to see that it will fill in the waistline where I shape it and sculpt it to your body. It'll take that away. Okay? Do the hips need to be adjusted for flatter side hips? No, just make it up. If it needs to be adjusted, if not, then, you know, there's a lot of generics being said just then. Flatter, who's flatter? You know, I mean, just make it up. And if you need to, just straighten it up. Or if you know what your hips are on the French curve, you can just lay the French curve down on that side seam, and you can take it from there. Okay? All right, so truly very easy to fit. Okay, so now we get to go to the fun part. We get to go to styling. Yay, styling. And we've just got, I mean, truly, that was so much fun. I was at Neiman's like a kid in a candy store. I was probably there every day. You know, I have all the salespeople's business cards, and, you know, it's really fun. There's a lot of beautiful things. And there's so much that I probably did literally a tenth of what I saw. There's so much out there. I had a tendency to go to the most expensive because that people always say sewing can't save you money. I beg to differ. You can save a lot of money when you're on the upper floor at Neiman Marcus and you're looking at some of those prices. So that's always my goal. All right, so we're going to start with this navy one right here. And I'm going to first look at this photo. And my goal was to just make a dress. Just make it. Floral, solid, print. We sent out an email today, our Lulu Sprite, which is like our Lululemon. It's on sale. We just got it in. I put it on sale just because it's perfect for this dress. So you might need a yard or 2 yards, I'm not sure, whatever you need according to your size. And it would be a beautiful, solid black sheath dress. With sleeve, without sleeve, you might make one of each, but it's a home run. It's absolutely a home run. But what I did, and the reason I did this is fabric 3583. 3583. And the reason I did this is I really just wanted to kind of test the pattern, test my fitting. I mean, I literally wasn't doing, but I'm just suggesting to you, I lowered the neckline just a little bit, but it's just a really fun dress to just kind of, check out my parts. And I made it sleeveless. I put the little 196 over it. You guys remember I had made that from a previous webcast. So you can see that it's just meant to be really summery, really easy, very cool in the summer. You just throw it on, and it's just really quick to make up everything. The bottom is a border print, and I just left it at the bottom. I just left that border print right there. If you use a stretch woven, do you need a zipper to get it off and on? No, not necessarily. Again, it depends on how tightly you fit it and what you like out of it. So this is a stretch woven, and I put it on and I could get it off and on without any issues. If you're, it depends on how curvy you are. It depends on how fitted it is. If your waist won't stretch over the bust, that's why you need a zipper. Zippers allow for waistlines to open up over bust lines. It's not actually the head that's the issue, because you can always open the neckline up a little bit. So it's bust versus waist. How big the bust is, how small the waist is, how fitted the garment is, and how much you need to open it up to get it off and on, how much the fabric will stretch. Okay, what adjustment if you're a J cup? Nothing. Don't do any adjustments. Use the D cup and just, watch for it to happen there. It's possible on the side seam that you may have to take a little dart. We've called it the two-ended dart. It starts at the side seam, tapers to nothing at both the princess seam in the front and the princess seam in the back. And just watch for that. You'll see diagonal lines under the armhole, and that's when you'll need. And the way I always say it is, if you can make a dart where the bust dart should be when there's no bust dart, then you need that adjustment. You don't want to go through and you necessarily change the princess seam. That's a lot of work. But you can just make a dart in the muslin. It's not in the final product. And then if you just taper it to nothing at the front princess seam and the back princess seam, that's the easiest way. That's the only thing you'll need to do. And most likely it'll be very minor. The one thing a lot of us misunderstand is just that cup sizing on a bra is way more specific than it is in a blouse. So D cup will really clean up most of those, J's, G's, whatever the numbers are, whatever the letters. They just don't compare exactly one to one. Okay. So the first dress we're going to do, we're just going to kind of clean it up, and we're just going to call it real simple. And it's really just to test out your muslin. It'll give you confidence, and it'll be beautiful. Don't get me wrong. It's just probably one of the most flattering dresses you'll ever wear. Number one, because it's the Sheath. It's the little black dress. It's Chanel. And also because it's knit. So it really follows your body, and don't make it too tight and don't make it too loose. Make it just right. Okay. Then the next one I want you to see is I started getting these ideas. So here was, I love this look, whether it was pants or whether it was a dress, whether it was top, it really didn't matter. To me, I saw it all as the same. I wanted you to go to the next one. Basically, you can see that that's about a 8-inch wrap added to the side. This one being lace. I love the different layers of lace in there. And then if we go to the next one, you can see that this look is very popular, this front tie look. We're seeing it, I saw it more than Neiman's. The only reason I went to Neiman's is because sometimes you'll see it in some places and it'll be dated, whereas you can really count on Neiman's to be certain that the goods are fresh coming in. So I wanted to make sure it was. So that brought us to this garment right here. This lace is just stunning. It's $36.30. I just put it up. It's a Calvin Klein lace. It's 100% cotton, which is not typical in stretch lace. And I want you to see, and I know it's black, I know it's hard to see, but in this lace, and you can, I think, see it a little bit better on the website, you'll see there's rows. Okay, so you can see if I put my hand behind it, there's circles there, and then there's stripes, and then there's different sections. There's different patterns as you go up the lace. Good job, camera. There's different patterns as you go up that lace. So what I did is that was inspired to me by that lace one. So the whole front is put together with those rows matching. And again, I'm going to put my hand under here so you can see that the rows match from piece to piece. So all you have to do is lay all your pieces the same at the bottom. You can see there that all the bottom pieces are laid the same. I even pieced the sleeve to where it all comes across at the same point. Come on up here just a little bit. And I want to show you that, so even from the sleeve across to there, and of course in person it's just really, really beautiful. You can see that that all matches. So you get a feeling that going across this thing, it's all linear, but it's very subtle. And then I took these ties, and we're going to show you that next photo, where I just made these, and I'll show you how to make them. And then they just tie. Now, depending on whether you want them high or low, I started them, if you noticed, just about 2 inches below the side seam. And I made this 6 inches wide, 8 inches long. And then this coming out, it depends on how much of a tie you want, but I made it between 12 and 18 inches. And then I just sewed it right into that side seam, and you can see it's just adorable. I just love it. Simple, easy, just adorable. Great fabric pattern combination, I think. It's a knit. Now what I did, one thing I love about lace is you can kind of dress it up or dress it down. So I went to dinner last weekend and I put it over a white base. So white tank and white bottoms. So it really dressed it down, as opposed to if you put it over black and black, it dresses it up a little bit. So I love the versatility, especially if you put a color underneath it, that also plays with it a little bit more. So I love that black lace, just the fact that it's so versatile. So that's brand new up. It's a Calvin Klein, 100% cotton. It's $36.30. Beautiful, beautiful knit. Okay, easy to do. Any questions? Can you change the neckline on this dress to a V-neck? Sure. You just always have to know where you are in your French curve, and then know how you want to finish off a V-neck. A V-neck, typically you can't just turn a seam allowance under. You've got to either do it with a binding or a facing, one of those two. Easy peasy. Okay? Okay, let's go to the next picture. And we see, oh, this is what I have on. So I did it a little different. I'll explain to you kind of what I did, but I loved the softness. This is a woven fabric, just by the way. Because I was dealing with a knit, I didn't really have to stitch it down the middle. You can see it's attached there. In the next picture, it's going to show you the back where it's also attached. You don't really have to attach it. I think in this case, because it's a woven, that's how they had to open up the neckline in order to get it off and on, whereas I just can slip mine right over the head, right over my head. All right, so we'll go to the next picture, and I'll just kind of show you how I did this. And it was this easy. I mean, it was just so easy. I did the same to the front as I did the back. And what I did is, there's just a couple details I'll point out to you, because otherwise you could just look at the drawing. But if you notice from the base of the neck, where I drew out here, you want to go straight out. So because you want a little bit of a flounce here, if you go straight out, then it falls, and the fall is what will create the extra. I didn't add any more in than just going straight out. So you can see that that shoulder seam is angled, but the actual shoulder itself goes straight out. And I went up 14 inches from the base of the neck out to this piece is 14 inches. I used my elbow as a point because I wanted it to kind of come down, the sleeve to come down to my elbow. I didn't want it shorter than that. You can see that the photo itself is much shorter. I'm guessing that photo is probably about 9 inches. So you can kind of decide on styling. If you're not sure, I would always make it longer because you can always take it away. If you don't like it, you can always make it shorter. So have a tendency to go on the long side, and then if you want to, you can cut it off. And so that's all it is. It just goes from the front. I didn't attach the front or the back because I really felt like that was just a, accident waiting to happen. I just didn't feel like it was necessary. Also, with it loose, I can wear a belt, which a lot of times I do, and I like to. I can wear a belt under it if I want to. It just makes it really fun. When I was sewing it, again, that's another little detail. If you look close at that drawing, notice when I did the overlay, it's a little narrower than the shoulder seam. So that, oh, I'm sorry, not on this one. No, I made it the exact same as the neckline. So the first thing I did is I sewed the overlay. I sewed the shoulder seams, and then I did a rolled edge. And I did a rolled edge in a black all the way around the base. I did that so that it would, it's got great drape to it. I didn't give you the fabric. This is fabric 3616. It's a rayon, and so rayon has such great drape that it's really not an issue for it to drape. But I decided that it would, that rolled edge would really be pretty. The fabric is somewhat reversible, so the fact that you're seeing the back side or the front side, you can see none of that matters. I just love it. I just love it. It's so soft on. It's unbelievable. Let's answer some questions. Sorry, you guys. I get ahead of myself. Hey, Peggy, I love the lace. How did you sew the lace? Did you serge the seams together? I did. Yep. It's just a straight serging. And again, let's go back to this. Sorry, Brett, on camera. If I put my hand under it, you can definitely see that there's a serge seam, but you're just not going to see that when you're looking at it because no matter what kind of seam you did, even if you tried to do like a French seam or something like that that's fancier, you really just see the lines coming across and you see it matching really more than anything else. So I just serged it, black serger thread, 4 thread, just went all the way. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you. There we go. And I really was going to put on a white tank top underneath this, but I really wanted you to see the look of the black on the black. I just really, oh yeah, that shows it really well, doesn't it? Thank you. Yeah, so it's like that all the way around, and then you can kind of see where those sleeves are just matching as well, and also the tie is matching. So it's very easy to do. You just lay all your bottom pieces on the same line that you want, and then you cut up. So it's extremely easy to match. It's not like it takes any high mathematical formula or anything. It's very simple to do, but it's just a beautiful lace. And the only other thing I did do is when I was doing the very bottom, there's like a row that's thin. I positioned that, and I noticed that when I positioned that, it turned up to be circles right at the neck edge, and I just really liked that particular placement. So I did kind of pay attention to that, but that was it. Okay. How wide is the point of the tie? I would say it's not really going to matter in your ties, but I would say it's a point. But after that, this is about 6 inches. So it's 8 inches along the side of your body, and it just tapers to 6 inches. Okay? And again, how long it is, you can see in some of those photos when you can go back and look at them. Some of those photos, the ties are like way down to your knees. So some of these ties that are out there, they're very extreme and they're very large. So you just have to decide what you like and your personality and all that kind of stuff. With this in particular, because it's black on black, and because it's a very, it ties very small, I decided, and I decided that's the length that it's going to be. Again, if you cut them longer and tie them, you can just cut them off where you decide you want them to be and then finish the ends. Or, you know, just make the ends a little more pointed if you want. How much fabric did it take for my top? 3 yards. It took a yard for the body and a yard for the front and a yard for the back. Okay? How wide is the lace at the side seam? That was the 8 inches. That's what I showed you. I had that drawn on the thing. I'm sorry. I had that drawn on the drawing. I didn't have it drawn. It was, I think I said, though, it was 8 inches. It's 8 inches, so it goes about 2 inches to the underarm. That will vary, again, though, by how tall you are. That's why when I do those diagrams, I try to show you where it starts. You want it to start at the underarm seam, about 2 inches under, because you want it to pull in under the bust, you know, so that it pulls in nicely like this. And then, you know, the same, however far that is above your waist, I would duplicate that same amount below your waist. So that'll change a little bit according to how short or tall you are. What you don't want to do is look like, you know, a sack tied in the middle. You want it to be more graceful. And if you go back and look at some of those ties, some are just beautifully done and some are not as, you know, nicely done. And when I look at all the differences, I notice how wide they are. How did you lay it on the fabric to cut? What is the lining under the lace? So there's nothing underneath the lace except for a black tank top, just a tank top. Like, you could put white under there, you could put different colors under there. There's nothing, it's just the lace itself, and then a black tank top underneath. Okay. How did you lay it on the fabric to cut out the pink? So I imagine you're talking about the overlay now. Just exactly how the pattern is. So on the sheath dress, the center front is on the fold. So my overlay is on the fold. On the back has a seam in it, so I did the overlay with the back having a seam. So however it was in the pattern, that's how I did the overlay. Because literally how I showed that picture, how it showed you drawing the overlay, I drew it from the front and the back. And the neckline has to match because it's connected at the neckline. You know, that's where the two are connected in. Okay? Okay, on your top, did you use the knit sleeveless armhole on the base dress? I did. Good job. Yes. It's a, no, I used the sleeveless. I'm sorry, I did not use the knit because I was making it sleeveless. I used my templates, but I went to the sleeveless armhole, not the knit armhole. It's higher, if you'll notice. I guess I could show you. See, it's higher up underneath my arm because it's sleeveless. Anytime it's sleeveless, you're going to jump armholes. Go back to that photo for just 1/2 second. I thought, oh, I did not draw that. I'm sorry. My apologies. Because I only made a change to that one piece. Yeah, but you should use your sleeveless. Good catch on me, you guys. Thank you. Okay, what's on your neck? Oh, it's a necklace. It's a necklace. With the top you are wearing, did you just join the layers at the neckline? Yes. So I'll just give you kind of the sewing order. First, I sewed the shoulder seams of this overlay, I'm going to call it. So there's a center back seam on the overlay, and then there's the 2 shoulder seams. Then I went to the rolled hem on my serger, and I did the rolled hem all the way around. Okay? Then I made the top. I hemmed the sleeves, hemmed the bottom of it, and I literally put the 2 together at the neck edge. I serged them together with a 4 thread, turned them to the inside, and top stitched. That was it. It's probably an hour and a half project. It's quick, it's easy, it's really fun, and I put it on. It's one of those happy dances. I just really liked it. And it feels so good on the rayon knit, or whatever fabric you do it in. I mean, it's so soft, it's just lovely. You certainly, you know, you could do all kinds of options. You slip it over your head. You could do it in a woven if the neckline was large enough to get it on, because it's so, you know, it's open. It's a tank top underneath, basically. It's a princess sheath tank top. So as long as you could get it on, you could do it in a myriad of fabrics. Okay, any other issues? We're good? Okay. Then let's go to the next picture. We have more. This is fun. Okay, so Acris Punto. Again, a great designer. I love watching their stuff. I've shown many of their things. They're creative. They're wonderful. They're just terrific. So I loved this dress. It actually says red online, but it's not a red. I was in the store, not that it matters, but it's a terracotta. It's a beautiful earth brownsy reddish color. It's very, very pretty. But I just loved that it was very classic, had a little cap if you notice, but I love those little slits. So that was my goal. I actually made this a little more of a cap than what that was. But I like it. I really liked it. And I love the little peekaboos. If I were to put this on, it's better placed. The mannequin is narrower than I am. And so it looks like it's off a little bit, but you can put it in the princess seams. You can put it right in the princess seams, and it works beautifully. All right, so let's show you kind of the process to go through and how I did this. And there it is. Okay, so you're going to make the kimono sleeve, but I moved it out 2 inches. Now, again, the reason I moved it out was because I measured at the store. So when I put this on, it actually it's much closer to the real one than what it is on this mannequin because it looks a little bit off. Okay, so all I had to do on this one was, if you notice those little cutouts there, I think they're green. You only do it in the front, and you just like give it a little moon shape. They're about 6 inches long, and they're 1 inch wide. So you can just work off the seam allowance, 6 inches, 1 inch wide, cut each out a little 1/2 inch. That will give you a nice inch across. But notice that I moved, before I did the kimono sleeve, I moved the seam out. Because when you look at the original, you can go to Neiman's and you can look at Acris Punto, you can find it. The seam is kind of curved out a little bit more, and I just like that. And so that's why I decided to move it out a little bit. So when I added to those middle pieces, I took away from the side panels. And that's what gave it a little more of a at the side look. And that's it. It's just 2 pieces in the front, 2 pieces in the back, no seam allowance. It's beautiful. This fabric, I think it's perfect for it. You want a fabric that has just a little bit of substance to it, and this is incredible. I don't know what this fabric costs, but I know it's not expensive, and this is a stretch woven. This is $36.20, and I used 2 yards. It's just beautiful. I mean, it is just incredible. It's so pretty. It just lays really beautiful. It's fun. The only reason I wore this one tonight is I could dance, and it danced with me. That was all. Okay. Okay. Then let's go to the next picture. Oh, this is my favorite. Oh my goodness gracious. It took me a long time to find this online. It was in the store and I couldn't find it online, and anyway, you don't care about that long story, but this is LaPointe. Sally LaPointe. I think her first name is Sally. Just a stunning piece. I mean, first off, it's cashmere. But even if it wasn't, it's just a luscious piece. And until you it was on a hanger, and it wasn't on the hanger correctly. And so I kind of like went after it to see what it was doing and where it was going and what was happening with it. And it just became more and more interesting. So I just had more fun with this. And so I want to show it to you. And I did this out of a navy. When you think about this, you want to think about it in a lightweight piece of fabric. Whatever you decide it to be, you certainly could do it in a woven and put an invisible zipper down the back. So it opens up to so many beautiful looks, and I think it's just absolutely stunning. So you can see that what it does is it lends itself to a little bit of a cowl. I did try the one on in the store, and if you notice where I'll show you kind of how it wraps in a minute, but it starts on the right shoulder, it wraps around the left and comes back around the right shoulder. And if you notice how long it is, it's all the way down, almost to the knee. And to me, it was almost a little overwhelming. I loved it. It was a bargain basement price of only $850. but I just felt like it was almost too much wrap. And I actually did try it on with those pants, and those pants are incredibly beautiful. But again, sometimes when you wear something like that, it's real dressy, but when you take the pieces apart, you can pair it with jeans, and you can really get away with wearing something really so beautiful, but paring it down a little bit, which, as you guys know, I just love about sewing. I just absolutely love it. So what I did is I used fabric 3547. 3547. This is a navy. It's got holes all in it. You know, you can kind of see right through it. But because we're going to wrap it the way we are, we're going to get away with doing lots of fun things with it. All right, so that's how the top starts. Now, mind you that there's going to be, I did the princess seam for the top because of the shaping. Again, when you go back to that mint green, there's no shaping on it at all. It's just kind of a blob. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, but it's just kind of a blob. So if you notice, this piece that's on top now is double layers here at this, you know, all the way to the front, and then it comes along and it simply extends out, curls up, and this piece is a yard long. This is a yard long. Now the piece in the store was actually longer. So what happens is this kind of, you let this drape a little bit, kind of forms a cowl, and then it comes around the neck and comes to the other side and just drapes like that. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, I just fell in love with it. So beautiful. It's so simple, but so beautiful. And I just thought it was just a perfect way to take a plain wrap dress and just zip it up. All right, so let's look at the piece, and I'll show you how to, I'll show you how I did the pattern work, because the pattern work's really easy to do. You guys can all do this. There it is. So I shortened the sheath. Decide what you're going to shorten it. We're going to call this wrap. Make this wrap piece a little shorter than you're shortening the top, because on the side here, you're going to want it to tie in, but you're not going to want it to be the same length as the top, because otherwise it gets in the way of the hem. And I'll try to show that to you here in a little bit with the camera. The wrap itself is just is the same length, so make it at least a hem's length less than the length of the top, so that it anchors in there correctly. I don't know that we're going to be able to see that. It's pretty dark. Okay, so I've got a hem here on the top, but the wrap comes straight out, and so the side piece is cut just like the side. The front piece is where all the styling starts to happen. What I did is I constructed the princess seam here. I made this narrower than the width of the neckline by a seam allowance, because again, up here, I want it to be free of the top underneath, and if it's the same width, then it'll get in the way. So both the width of the shoulder and the length of the hem are the same concept. You got to make it a little bit shorter and a little bit narrower so it doesn't get into the way of hemming the neckline. Okay, so you can see this is just the princess seam top, just as it is. I made a 3/4 sleeve just because I love 3/4 sleeves. And then what I did is I rolled hem all of this. Okay, that's it. It's just simple, simple, simple. Simple and fun, and just looks amazing. Looks rich to me. That's a necklace. Oh, you're talking about this? It was a gift. It was a gift, you guys. I don't know all the details. I just know I'm in love with it, but I don't know too many details on it. One more question about the lace. That's okay, you guys. This is your time to ask questions. I really don't mind, because I really want you to be able to do this stuff. Some of these things, you guys, they're so current and they're so trendy that I just, oh my goodness, I just fell in love with them. So just ask away, no worries. Okay, did you finish the neck with a bias binding? No, all I did was serge that, turn it under, and top stitch. It just looks like a bias binding because it's the lace on the lace. You could, though, I mean, if you wanted to, you could put like a fold over elastic, but my whole theory through all of this is I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. How did you finish the slit openings on the kimono sleeve top? Oh, okay, so this is just Do you mind coming in close on that? Yeah, okay. So once he comes in, you can see it. What I did is I did a 4-thread serge all the way down. Then I did a 4-thread serge all the way down, so both sides. Then I stitched it to here on the sewing machine, back stitched it here on the sewing machine, and stitched down. Then on the inside, I opened up the seam, and then you can see if he comes in, there's a little top stitch. Let's go all the way in. I matched that thread, so it's really hard to see, but there you can see it, where I took and matched that thread, and I did a top stitch on each side. There it is. So really all it is that seam is just tucked under and top stitch. But I think the beauty of it, because you know, the dress at the store, the beauty of it is matching that thread, and really to where you can't even see the thread. So it looks like those slits are just almost invisible, and they're just kind of suspended in space. So that's a good tip that I think that I would pass on to you all. Okay. On your flounce you are wearing, can you show where you sew underarm? I know 2 inches down from the armhole. I think you're on 2 different garments is why you're not getting it. So the flounce I'm wearing, there's no sewing under the arm. This was the sewing under the arm, 2 inches down, this tie. So I think you guys, I am throwing a lot out at you, okay? I mean, I've been working on this for weeks, so I can see that I'm just kind of hurling it out at you at 50 miles an hour. If you just go back and watch it, it'll all be there. And if it's not, if there's a question you have, just shoot me an email. But watch the whole thing before you shoot me emails, because if I've said it in here, which I think I've said pretty close to everything, then I won't answer you. Okay. Okay. Did you line or interface the navy and the princess pink? I didn't line anything. I didn't interface anything. I really went to fabrics that I felt like would support the style that it was, and there's nothing wrong with interfacing, but like this pink has a lot of body to it, so it worked beautifully. Again, this pink was 3620. So if you look at the pink, you can kind of understand what I'm saying on that. How many yards for the navy LaPointe top? Again, depending on your size, give yourself, and I made a top, not a dress, so I did 2 yards. I did 1 for the top itself, and then 1 for this piece. This piece right here is a yard, so it needs 1 whole yard for that. So whatever your body needs, and then 1 yard extra for the wrap. Okay? How many, when you use a woolly nylon, do I use a woolly nylon when you do rolled hems? No, I don't. I mean, no. I just use my regular thread. I use a 3-thread rolled hem, and I just use the regular sewing thread. How many yards for the blue with wrap? The blue, this, with wrap? I think I just answered that. I think it's a yard for the wrap, and then whatever you need for the body, whether it be a dress or a top, either way. It is beautiful. I agree. I mean, it's just absolutely, I just fell in love with it. And again, it was really fun because it wasn't done well on the hanger. You can kind of imagine it on the hanger, and especially if somebody puts it on a hanger and they don't put it back right, there's like, what is all this, you know? So it took me a while to kind of figure it out, and then find the designer, and, you know, it took me a while to figure it out. How many yards of fabric would you recommend for the blue wrap princess seam? The blue. Okay, I'm confused. The blue wrap princess seam top wrap. That would be the yard for the top, and then whatever you need for your body size. So if you look on the back, if you need 2 yards, you'll need 3 yards. If you need 3 yards, you'll need 4 yards. Add a yard for that top. What is the width of the yard-long extension of the navy wrap? Let's go back to that drawing just for 1/2 a second, if you don't mind. I think it's number 5A, maybe? Yeah, so see here, I give you those dimensions, because your 1 and 2 are your pattern piece. And you can see where number 1 is duplicated. And so the yards, I think it's 36 inches, starts from the side, or starts from that shoulder seam and goes out. Okay? And the bottom of that can curve however you want it. Don't feel you know, again, make it wider, and then if you feel like you want it to be a little narrower, make it narrow. Play with it. It's really fun to play with, and it's going to look terrific. No matter what you end up with, it's going to look great. Okay? How wide is it? I'll tell you how wide mine is, and then you can decide what you want to do. Mine for... Let me grab my tape measure. Hang on. Okay, so... But you have to know, like, I did not measure the original. I didn't measure these details because I just didn't feel like it really mattered. Mine's 6 inches. And that 6 inches goes for 30. You know, I've got this wrong, you guys. I've got this wrong. I'm glad you all asked me. This is longer than 36. It's 36 added onto the top because this... What did I do here? It's 6... Oh, I know what I did. I doubled the fabric. That's what I did. It's 60 inches from here to here. It's 60 inches. Ah, you guys, I'm so sorry. It's 60 inches from here to here. It's double the 36. Not quite 36, but it's double. So let me go back and tell you what I did. I'm glad I got out my tape measure. So it's 8 inches wide for 40 of those inches. And then it goes into this curve. Okay, that should help you kind of drape that. Then it will form the cowl, and then you can turn the cowl around your neck. All right, does that help? But that helps me. I'm glad you all asked that. I would have kept saying it's 30 inches, it's 30 inches. It's twice that. I had it on the fold. That's why I had that second yard on the fold, and I cut it the whole width of the fold. So that's where I did wrong. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, when you shop for fabrics, do you see bright, colorful prints like rayon batiks to use for your patterns? Well, understand that, you know, maybe if you understand my buying process, you would understand a little bit more about what the concept is. So, I'm buying all designer ends. Everything is designer ends out of either Italy. Well, they're all out of Italy because everybody in New York buys out of Italy. Everybody in LA buys out of China for the most part. So I'm only buying from jobbers. I'm only buying from designers who sell to jobbers. That's it. I'm not ordering fabric by the yard. So for the most part, batiks, like right now, they're not in the stores. So I'm not going to get batiks. I'm not going to get things that aren't in the fashion arena right now. I mean, I'm not saying somebody doesn't have batiks, but it's not going to be what the majority is going to be there. Okay? So I am not ordering fabric by the yard. You could never get these quality of fabrics at these prices. It would never happen. You know, I saw a price point one time of $50 a yard, and I turned around and sold that fabric to you for $9.99 a yard. You all just probably don't understand how high quality these fabrics are and the prices you're paying for them, because I never really talk about them. But they are, I love doing this. I love bringing you these extraordinary fabrics. And I know some of you don't understand that, and sometimes you'll pinch me for it was an inch short and you owe me this. You know, I got it all. But you just don't understand how valuable these fabrics are and what a great price you're paying for them. So that's just an FYI. I don't pretend to be a fabric store. I don't even want to be a fabric store. I don't want to carry everything you're looking for. I want to bring great current fabrics like, you know, we have some leathers and furs coming in from Calvin Klein. And literally my guy called me and said, I'm at Calvin Klein. Are you interested in XYZ? He's sending me photos. So I'm kind of like there in New York buying. It's extremely wonderful. It's exciting. It's long time connections with these people, like 30-year connections with some of these people. And so I feel really honored to be able to have these fabrics for you all. And I just hope you enjoy them. And I know many, many of you do. I'm sorry, did you give the fabric number on the blue wrap? I'm going to call this the blue wrap, I think. And the fabric was 3547. $35.47. So does that mean 2 extra yards of fabric for the wrap that was originally green? No, you guys. So if you have a yard, you put your pieces this way. That's why the fold kind of messed me up. So it's the width of the fabric that you're getting. Your wrap isn't going this way. It's going the width. But you need a yard because it's the length of the body, but it's going, you have the whole fold. You have the whole width of the fabric. So I hope that explains a little bit better. I have Patty's Princess Seam top. Is this the same base? Yes, it is. Does that mean the wrap piece on the navy top takes 2 additional yards? No, it's only 1 additional yard. If you just listen to that answer I just said, you'll understand why. Okay. Okay. All right. I want to show you a couple other things, and you can ask more questions if you need to. We've got a few minutes left, and I know we started a little late, but I just want to show you because I said to you, I took these 5 and I did these 5 because I was in love with them, but there were so many others I saw that I just thought I'd share the photos with you. And then if you decide you want to do something with them, you can. But there's the sheath dress, the knit sheath is just everywhere. It's just such a great classic that it was just a lot of fun to make at the PoM, and it's been a lot of fun doing this webcast. And none of it takes a lot of time. It works up very quick. You can see there's no buttons or zippers or linings, or it just works up really quick. Okay, so let's look at some of these. There you go. I love that. You see one side is on the bias and one side is not. Asymmetric, just loved it. Okay, next. This is a Burberry. I would suggest this was on a mannequin at Neiman's when I went back for the last time. It had just come in brand new. It doesn't have to be a check, and I certainly wouldn't wear it with that stripe. I can't believe that they've put these two together, but they have. But it could be just a solid, and you can see that princess seam could come down, and then you can see the beautiful way that side is done, and it could work itself into the side panel was what I was thinking, and kind of why I just wanted to show it to you and bring it to your attention. Okay, so this was kind of fun. It's simply the sheath dress. I know there's no fit to this, but it's just taking it past the center front to the side seam, but stitching it at the center front and then just letting it hang open. I just thought that was a great look, especially in linen. You could do a short top and then do leggings with it, and it'd be really flattering. And then I think there's one more. Yeah, I wanted you to see this. This is actually, this was Acros Punto also. And you can see that you can really use your design lines and your fit lines all together to where the blue is your princess seam. Then you cut it wherever at your waist or wherever you wanted to, and the orange could simply be done with a princess seam in there, but because you would never see the princess seam if it was the same color, and then of course the black in the same way. So I just thought this was really fun for summertime. It'd be a great conversation dress. This whole color blocking idea is coming back. You know, I think a lot of these retro 70 things are coming back, and this is one that hasn't come back for a little while, so I think we're going to see it for fall. And I think it's cute. And it's great for scraps. If you got scraps, you can put it all together with some scraps and do wonderful things. Okay, and I think that's it, right? Checks are very popular for fall. Very popular for fall. Very, very popular for fall. And especially how that one was done, how they're doing them on the bias and then the regular, because it creates so much interest in the garment. And they're just done beautifully. Plus, you don't have to worry about matching all your checks, which is kind of nice too. When you gave the construction of the flounce, were the shoulders attached? No, together. The only place this is attached is right at the neck edge. That's it. The whole thing is free. You could attach it in other places if you wanted to. I didn't want to. Okay? What is the base for Carol's jacket 900? 600, the classic blouse. Okay? We are excited to announce that we're going to have a sew-along on Saturday. You know, it isn't going to be a big deal because we're just going to sew. We're going to sew the sheath dress. So there's nothing hard about it. This is one you guys ought to plan to sew along with me, because, you know, we could easily just whip up a sheath dress and it'll be done in no time. So 2 o'clock on Saturday, we're going to have a sew along, and we hope to see you there. But for now, happy sewing. Bye.